Our story begins with an elderly woman named Gramatala, who gathers the children of her village to tell them a mysterious legend that dates back thousands of years. She tells them that long ago, there lived a goddess named Tefiti, the creator of life itself. Inside her was a magical relic known as the Heart of Tefiti, a powerful stone that brought life, balance, and prosperity to every island across the ocean. As long as the heart remained with Tefiti, nature flourished and the world lived in peace. But over time, greed consumed both humans and monsters. Everyone wanted the heart's incredible power, believing it could make them the strongest being in the world. Eventually, that temptation reached Maui, a legendary demigod with the ability to shapeshift into any creature. Believing he was helping humanity, Maui stole the heart of Tefiti using his magical fishhook. The moment the heart was taken, the balance of nature collapsed. Darkness spread across the ocean. Forests began to wither, crops died, islands slowly lost their life, and the entire world started falling into ruin. As Maui escaped with the heart, he was suddenly confronted by Te Macron, a terrifying lava monster rising from the depths of the sea. A fierce battle erupted between them. Te Macron overpowered Maui, sending him, his magical fishhook, and the heart of Tefiti crashing into the ocean, where they disappeared beneath the waves. But the destruction didn't stop there. The darkness continued spreading from island to island, consuming everything in its path. Deadly ocean monsters began searching for the lost heart, destroying anyone unfortunate enough to stand in their way. Gramatala then tells the children that the story isn't over yet. She speaks of an ancient prophecy, that one day, the ocean itself will choose someone worthy. That chosen person will sail beyond the reef, find Maui, return the heart to Tefiti, restore the balance of nature, and save every island from destruction. Among all the children listening to the story is Tala's young granddaughter, Mona. Unlike the others, Mona doesn't see it as just another legend. As she listens, her eyes fill with curiosity and wonder. It's almost as if the ocean is calling out to her, even though she has no idea that this prophecy will one day become her own destiny. Just then, Mona's father, Chief Tui, arrives and gently interrupts the story. He reassures the children, saying, "There's nothing to be afraid of. Monsters aren't real. They're only part of old stories." Tui explains that their island is completely safe. Their ancestors built a beautiful home here, where the ocean provides everything they need to survive. Because of that, no one has any reason to sail beyond the reef. As everyone leaves, Mona quietly stares at the endless ocean. She can't explain why, but deep inside, it feels as if the sea is calling her. A little later, Mona wanders down to the beach, where she notices two birds attacking a tiny sea turtle hatchling. She quickly scares the birds away, gently picks up the baby turtle, and helps it safely reach the ocean. As she watches it swim away, something catches her eye. A beautiful seashell is glowing beneath the water. The moment she steps toward it, the impossible happens. The ocean suddenly parts, creating a pathway just for her. Amazed but unafraid, Mona walks forward as the waves move around her, almost as if the sea itself is welcoming her. Then, a glowing green stone slowly rises from the water. Without realizing what it truly is, Mona picks it up in her tiny hands. She has no idea that she's holding the heart of Tefiti, the very relic capable of restoring balance to the entire world. To her, it's simply a beautiful glowing stone, and she begins playing with it like any curious child would. Moments later, Chief Tui rushes to the shore, desperately searching for his daughter. The instant he sees her standing so close to the ocean, he breathes a sigh of relief and quickly pulls her into his arms. Looking at her seriously, he says, "Mona, you should never come this close to the ocean alone. It may look beautiful, but it's also dangerous. Beyond those waves, there's nothing waiting for us." Soon after, Mona's mother, Sina, arrives as well. She hugs her daughter tightly and says, "You're the most precious thing in our lives, Mona. We worry about you because we love you." Chief Tui then kneels in front of her and says, "One day, you'll become the chief of this village. The future of our people will rest on your shoulders, so you must learn what responsibility truly means." Pointing across the island, he continues, "This island is our home. It's our entire world. Our ancestors built their lives here and entrusted this land to us. Now it's our responsibility to protect it." Years pass, and little Mona grows into a brave, compassionate, and determined young woman. One day, Chief Tui takes her to the highest peak on the island, a sacred place where only the village chief is allowed to stand. There, hundreds of carefully stacked stones overlook the ocean. Tui points toward them and says, "Every one of these stones represents a chief who came before us. Whenever a new chief takes their place, they add another stone to this mountain. It's more than a tradition, it's a symbol of leadership, sacrifice, and responsibility." He then looks Mona in the eyes and says, "Always remember, being a chief isn't about honor. It's about serving your people. Every decision you make will shape the future of this island, so always put your people before yourself." Mona listens carefully to every word her father says, proudly gazing at the sacred mountain. At that moment, she silently promises herself that one day she will become the greatest chief her people have ever known. From then on, She eagerly waits for the day when she will place her own stone on the sacred summit, just like every chief before her. She dedicates herself to preparing for that future. She spends her days playing with her beloved pet pig Pua and her goofy rooster Hehe, whose hilarious antics never fail to make the entire village laugh. At the same time, Moana happily helps everyone in the village with their daily tasks. Whether it's lending a hand with chores or caring for her people, she embraces every responsibility with a smile. Little by little, the entire village begins to see her as their future chief. But despite everything, whenever Moana looks out at the endless ocean, she feels something she can't explain. It's as if the sea is still calling her, as though her true destiny lies somewhere beyond the horizon. Not long afterward, troubling news spreads across the island. The fishermen, who usually return with plenty of fish every day, come back empty-handed. Soon everyone realizes that the waters around the island have become strangely empty. It seems as though every fish has mysteriously disappeared into the deep ocean. For the village, this is a serious problem. Chief Tui immediately gathers the entire village for a meeting. The concern on everyone's faces is impossible to ignore. Looking at his people, Tui says, "When I was a child, a terrible storm struck our island. Back then, all the fish fled into deeper waters. But once the storm passed, they eventually came back." After a brief pause, he continues, "This time, there was no storm, no rough seas, nothing unusual at all. Yet every fish has disappeared. That can only mean one thing. Something is happening out in the ocean that we don't understand." A heavy silence falls over the gathering. Everyone realizes that if the fish don't return soon, the village could face a food shortage. Breaking the silence, Moana steps forward. "If there aren't any fish near the shore, then maybe we should sail farther out and look for them. Maybe they've moved beyond the reef." Chief Tui immediately shakes his head. "No, Moana, our people will never sail beyond the reef. Beyond it lie dangerous waters and certain death. We will not break the rules our ancestors left for us." After the meeting ends, Moana quietly walks down to the beach and sits alone, staring at the ocean. A few moments later, her mother Sina joins her. She already knows why Moana is upset. Sitting beside her, Sina gently says, "Your father isn't trying to destroy your dreams, Moana. He's only trying to protect you." Moana looks at her and asks, "Then why is he so afraid of the ocean?" Sina takes a deep breath before answering, "Because your father wasn't always like this. When he was young, he loved the ocean just as much as you do." She continues, "One day, he and his older brother decided to break the rules and sail far beyond the reef. At first everything seemed peaceful, but without warning, the weather changed. Massive waves surrounded their canoe, and within moments, it was overturned." Her voice grows quieter. "That day, your father lost his brother forever." Moana is left speechless. Sina gently takes her hand. "After that tragedy, your father never dared to sail beyond the reef again. He made himself a promise that no one else in the village would ever have to face that same loss." She looks into Mona's eyes and softly says, "He's not your enemy, Mona. He's simply a father who has already lost someone he loved, and refuses to lose his daughter too." Hearing this, Mona's eyes fill with tears. For the first time, she truly understands the fear her father has carried all these years. She silently watches the waves rolling across the ocean. The next day, Mona walks through the village, helping everyone with their daily work. Some people repair fishing boats, while others weave new fishing nets. She gladly lends a hand wherever she's needed while continuing to prepare for the day she will become the island's next chief and place her ceremonial stone upon the sacred mountain. Finally, she reaches the summit. Mona slowly raises the stone in her hands. But suddenly, she stops. Her eyes drift toward the endless ocean stretching beyond the island. That familiar feeling returns. Deep inside, she realizes that perhaps becoming chief isn't her only destiny. One question echoes through her mind. What's really beyond the reef? This time, Mona decides to follow her heart. She quietly takes Pua, climbs into a small canoe, and begins sailing toward the reef. At first, the ocean is calm, but as she ventures farther from shore, the waves grow larger and more violent. Suddenly, a massive wave crashes into the canoe. Within seconds, the boat flips over, throwing both Mona and Pua into the sea. Mona struggles to swim back to the surface, only to discover that her foot has become tangled in the canoe's rope. She desperately tries to free herself. After an exhausting struggle, she finally manages to untangle her foot and breaks through the surface of the water. But before she can catch her breath, another enormous wave races toward her. Mona braces herself for the worst. Instead of dragging her under, the wave gently lifts both her and Pua and carries them safely back to the beach. Although her life is spared, she injures her foot in the accident and collapses onto the sand in pain. Just then, Grandma Tala slowly walks over to her. Disappointed, Mona sighs. "Dad was right. The ocean really is dangerous. Maybe I'll never be able to sail beyond the reef. Maybe I'm only meant to become the chief and continue our traditions." Tala smiles knowingly. "Mona, when my time comes, I'll return as a giant manta ray, swimming through the ocean and watching over our family forever." Then she laughs and adds, Besides, everyone in the village already thinks I'm the crazy old lady anyway. Hearing this, Moana smiles too, but deep down, she realizes her grandmother isn't joking. There is something hidden behind Tala's words, a secret she's been waiting to reveal. Looking into her grandmother's eyes, Moana senses that she's about to uncover something that will change everything. Grandma Tala gently says, "Come with me. It's time I show you the greatest secret our ancestors ever kept." The two of them climb toward a secluded peak high in the mountains, where a truth hidden for generations has been waiting, one that is about to change Moana's life forever. Eventually, Tala leads Moana to the entrance of a mysterious cave concealed behind the mountain. Smiling, Tala says, "Moana, ever since you were a little girl, you've heard every story about our ancestors, except one." She then asks, "Do you really believe our people never sailed beyond the reef?" Moana looks at her in complete surprise. Tala points toward the cave. "If you want the answers you've been searching for, go inside and strike the ancient drum. Then you'll understand everything." Moana slowly steps into the cave. The sight before her leaves her speechless. Hidden inside are dozens of enormous voyaging canoes, carefully preserved for generations. At the center of the cave sits an ancient ceremonial drum. Curious, Moana gently strikes it. The moment the drum echoes through the cave, torches along the walls ignite on their own. Ancient murals suddenly glow with life, revealing the forgotten history of her people. Moana discovers that her ancestors were never ordinary islanders. They were legendary wayfinders who navigated the open ocean by following the stars. They sailed thousands of miles across the sea, discovered distant islands, and explored the vast world beyond the horizon. But one day, everything changed. After Maui stole the heart of Te Fiti, darkness began spreading across the world. Terrifying monsters appeared throughout the ocean, making every voyage more dangerous than ever before. To protect their people, the chief of that generation made one final decision. No one would ever sail beyond the reef again. As the years passed, generations grew up following that rule. Eventually, the people didn't just stop voyaging, they completely forgot that their ancestors had once been the greatest navigators in the world. As the vision fades, Grandma Tala walks over to Moana and says in a serious voice, "The darkness that once lived only in the ocean has finally reached our island. If no one stops it, our home will slowly die." Tala then reaches into her necklace and carefully removes the heart of Te Fiti, placing it into Moana's hands. Smiling warmly, she says, "The day I saw you playing with the ocean as a little girl, I knew the ocean had chosen you. It chose you for a reason, because you're the one who can finish this journey." She looks directly into Moana's eyes. "You must sail beyond the reef, find Maui, convince him to return the heart of Te Fiti, and only then can the darkness finally come to an end." Hearing those words, Moana grips the heart tightly. For the first time, she fully understands that her true destiny isn't simply to become the chief of her village. She has been chosen to save the ocean, and everyone who depends on it. Determined, Moana goes to her father one last time and begs him to let her sail beyond the reef to restore the heart and save their people. But Chief Tui refuses. He quietly says, "Before your grandmother showed you that cave, she showed it to me. Our ancestors sealed it away for a reason, and I won't break the promise they left behind." Before Moana can respond, a frightened villager rushes in with terrible news. Grandma Tala has suddenly become gravely ill. Tui and Moana immediately hurry to her side. Moana finds her grandmother taking her final breaths. With a gentle smile, Tala holds Moana's hand and whispers, "The time has come. Sail beyond the reef, find Maui, return the heart to Te Fiti, and save every island." She then places her treasured necklace into Moana's hands, her final gift, and a symbol of the faith she has always placed in her granddaughter. After hearing her grandmother's last wish, Moana quietly returns home, gathers supplies for the journey, and makes her way back to the hidden cave. There, she chooses one of her ancestors' great voyaging canoes and sets sail into the unknown ocean in search of Maui. Back on the island, Grandma Tala peacefully takes her final breath. But even in death, she never leaves the ocean she loved. Her spirit transforms into a glowing manta ray, gracefully swimming through the waves, watching over her granddaughter from afar. As the voyage continues, Moana suddenly realizes she isn't alone. From the corner of the canoe pops out her clumsy rooster, Hehe. Seeing her unexpected companion makes Moana smile. No matter how dangerous the journey ahead may be, she now has a friend beside her. As hours pass, Moana slowly drifts off to sleep. Suddenly, a splash of seawater hits her face. She wakes up in alarm and discovers that the weather has changed completely. Dark storm clouds cover the sky, and enormous waves begin crashing across the ocean. Confused, Moana struggles to keep the canoe under control. Then, without warning, a gigantic wave slams into the boat. Within seconds, Moana, Hehe, and the canoe are swept away by the raging sea. Sometime later, Moana regains consciousness on the shore of a deserted island. Everything around her is eerily silent. The first thing she does is open her grandmother's necklace to check the heart of Te Fiti. Relieved, she discovers it's still safe. What she doesn't realize is that the ocean has brought her to the very island where the legendary demigod Maui has been stranded for centuries. Frustrated, she looks toward the sea and shouts, "Seriously? This is your idea of helping? I was supposed to find Maui." Just then, she notices the shadow of a massive figure slowly approaching. Frightened, Moana quickly hides behind her canoe and cautiously watches as the mysterious figure comes closer. Moments later, the figure steps into view. It's none other than Maui. With incredible strength, he casually lifts the entire canoe with one hand, believing the gods have finally sent him away off the island. The living tattoos covering his body shift and move with every motion. Grinning, Maui says, well, a tiny human. How did you manage to make it all the way out here?" Without showing any fear, Moana replies, "I've been looking for you. You are coming with me. You have to return the heart of Te Fiti." She steps forward and says firmly, "Because of you, the entire ocean is dying. You stole the heart of Te Fiti, and now every island is slowly losing its life. It's time to fix what you started." Maui bursts into laughter. Then, with complete confidence, he replies, "I didn't steal the heart for myself. I stole it to help humanity. So instead of blaming me, you should be thanking me." Without another word, Maui breaks into a song, proudly celebrating all of his legendary achievements. He sings about slowing down the sun for mankind, pulling islands from the ocean floor, and giving humanity fire and countless other gifts. As he performs, the living tattoos covering his body come to life, humorously acting out every story he tells. For a moment, Moana can't help but wonder if maybe Maui really was the hero everyone once believed him to be. Taking advantage of her distraction, Maui quickly traps her inside a nearby cave. Then he grabs her hair, tosses the clueless rooster into the canoe, and sails away, believing he's finally gotten rid of her. But Moana refuses to give up that easily. Using a large stone statue inside the cave, she manages to force the entrance open before diving straight into the ocean. The moment she hits the water, the ocean comes to her rescue once again, carrying her safely back onto Maui's canoe. When Maui turns around and sees Moana standing right behind him, he's completely stunned. Desperate to escape her, he immediately jumps overboard, but the ocean clearly has other plans. A massive wave scoops Maui out of the water and slams him right back onto the canoe. Looking him straight in the eye, Moana says, "Running away isn't your destiny. Returning the heart of Te Fiti is. You have to restore nature." Maui's expression suddenly turns serious. "You don't understand. That isn't just some magical stone. The moment I stole it, Te Keavid Macron attacked me. During that battle, I lost my magical fishhook somewhere in the ocean. Without it, I'm powerless." Before either of them can say another word, dozens of tiny, high-speed boats suddenly appear on the horizon. Racing toward them are the Kakamora, tiny but dangerous coconut-armored pirates. And they're after the heart of Te Fiti. Within seconds, the Kakamora swarm Moana's canoe, creating complete chaos. Amid the confusion, they steal the heart and escape aboard their massive warship. Without hesitating, Moana leaps onto the enemy vessel with Maui close behind. Fighting her way through wave after wave of Kakamora, she swings across ropes, dodges attacks, and battles her way to the center of the ship. Finally, she recovers the heart of Te Fiti and makes it safely back to her canoe. But the Kakamora refuse to let them escape. Every pirate ship begins chasing them across the ocean. That's when Maui decides to fight with his brains instead of his strength. At the perfect moment, he expertly steers the canoe between the two largest pirate ships. Unable to stop in time, the enormous vessels crash into each other at full speed, shattering into pieces and throwing the Kakamora into the sea. Thanks to Maui's quick thinking, they barely escape. But both of them know that the hardest part of their journey is still ahead. After the battle, Maui folds his arms and says, "I'm not helping you return the heart. Demigods work alone. I don't need a human." Moana refuses to back down. "No, Maui, you are not the hero you used to be. The world remembers you as the thief who stole the heart of Te Fiti and plunged every island into darkness. But you can change that. Return the heart, fix the mistake you made, and the world will remember you as its hero once again." Maui thinks for a moment before finally nodding. "Fine, I'll help you, but only on one condition." He looks at the empty space where his fishhook should be. "First, I need my magical fishhook back. Without it, I can't use my powers." Then he explains, "If anyone has it, it's probably Tamatoa, the giant crab who lives deep beneath the ocean. He's obsessed with collecting anything shiny." With no better option, the two set sail in search of Tamatoa. During the long voyage, Maui begins teaching Moana the ancient art of wayfinding. He shows her how to navigate using the stars, how to read the movement of the waves, and how to let the ocean guide her instead of fighting against it. Little by little, Moana grows into a far more confident navigator. One night, exhausted from the endless journey, she falls asleep. In her dream, darkness has consumed her island. Every tree has withered. Every plant has died. Even her parents are swallowed by the spreading darkness. Moana wakes up with a terrified gasp. Not long afterward, they arrive at a mysterious island. Maui explains that Tamatoa's lair lies beneath it. Together, they carefully approach the entrance to an enormous cave. Moi opens the ancient stone doorway. Inside, there's nothing but darkness, and a massive pit leading deep underground. Without hesitation, Moi jumps in. Moana takes a deep breath and follows him. Once inside, Moi quietly explains the plan. You distract Tamatoa. While he's focused on you, I'll sneak in and steal back my fishhook. Moana nods and walks forward alone. Moments later, the gigantic crab Tamatoa emerges from the darkness. He grabs Moana with one of his enormous claws. His eyes immediately lock onto the glowing necklace around her neck. Greed fills his face. Hand over that shiny necklace. Moana quickly shakes her head. No, it belonged to my grandmother. I'm never giving it away. Tamatoa bursts into laughter. Grandmother? I ate my grandmother. Then he stares at her curiously. Besides, you are human. What are you doing in my cave? Thinking fast, Moana smiles. I came to meet you. I've heard stories about the most magnificent, most glamorous creature in the entire ocean. Tamatoa grins proudly. Completely flattered, he immediately breaks into another extravagant musical performance, showing off his glittering shell. Meanwhile, Moi quietly sneaks toward his magical fishhook. The moment he grabs it, he tries transforming into a hawk. Instead, his powers malfunction. He rapidly changes from one animal to another, unable to control his shapeshifting. The commotion catches Tamatoa's attention. Instantly, he throws Moana aside and charges toward Moi. An intense battle erupts inside the cave. Despite fighting hard, Moi is eventually knocked across the cavern, and Tamatoa snatches the fishhook back. Just then, Moana notices a glowing green barnacle nearby. Its color looks almost identical to the heart of Tefiti. Thinking quickly, she picks it up and holds it high. Tamatoa's eyes grow wide. The heart of Tefiti! Moana deliberately throws the glowing barnacle across the cave. Blinded by greed, Tamatoa races after it. That brief distraction is all Moana needs. She climbs onto Tamatoa's massive shell, grabs Moi's fishhook, leaps back to him, and the two make a run for it. When Tamatoa finally reaches the glowing object, he realizes it's nothing more than an ordinary shiny barnacle. Enraged, he turns and charges after them. But before he can catch them, Moi and Moana escape from the cave and race back to their canoe. As they continue sailing, silence hangs between them. Eventually, Moana notices the living tattoos moving across Moi's body. Curious, she asks, Moi, what are those tattoos? Are they telling your story? The smile disappears from Moi's face. He looks away without saying a word. After a moment, Moana quietly says, You don't have to tell me, but sometimes sharing your pain makes it a little easier to carry. Moi remains silent for a long moment. Then he finally speaks. I wasn't born a demigod, or even Moi. His voice grows heavy. But the ocean carried me safely to shore, where the gods found me. They took me in, gave me this magical fishhook, and transformed me into a demigod. That was the day I became Moi. Tears begin to fill Moi's eyes as he continues. From that day on, I devoted all my powers to helping humanity. I pulled islands from the sea, gave people fire, coconuts, and countless other gifts to make their lives easier. All I ever wanted was for humans to accept me, to love me. After hearing Moi's story, Moana finally understands that he didn't steal Tefiti's heart out of greed. He truly believed he was helping humanity, and all he had ever wanted was to earn people's love and acceptance. After saying this, Moi tries to shapeshift once again. He grips his magical fishhook and attempts to transform, but his powers still haven't fully returned. Instead of becoming the creature he wants, he uncontrollably shifts into several different animals before collapsing in exhaustion. Meanwhile, back on the island of Motonui, Chief Tui stands alone at the edge of the shore. His eyes are filled with tears as he stares silently toward the distant horizon. With every passing wave, he holds on to one hope, that his daughter, Moana, will return home safely. A short while later, Moi notices the necklace around Moana's neck and smiles. He says, Now I recognize that necklace. He continues, Long ago, when your ancestors sailed across the great ocean, I saw them wearing this necklace. It's no ordinary pendant. It once belonged to the legendary master navigator, Taitavasa. Only the greatest wayfinders wore it, those who could read the stars, understand the ocean, and find their way across the endless sea. As they continue sailing, they finally arrive at the island of Tefiti. But the paradise that once brought life to the world has become a wasteland. Rivers of molten lava cover the island, smoke darkens the sky, and standing before them is the terrifying lava monster, Teke'evit Macron. Moi takes the heart of Tefiti from Moana and says, I'll distract Teke'evit Macron. The moment I get an opening, I'll return the heart. With that, he transforms into a giant hawk and flies straight toward Teke'evit Macron. But the moment he gets close, Teke'evit Macron attacks with enormous fireballs and waves of molten lava. Moi fights with everything he has, but he is completely overpowered and is forced to retreat back to Moana's canoe. Shaken by Teke'evit Macron's incredible strength, Moi urgently says, Turn the canoe around. We have to get out of here. But Moana refuses to give up. she firmly replies, "If we can't get through this way, we'll find another. We didn't come all this way just to turn back." Inspired by her determination, Moi gathers his courage and attacks Te Macron once again. But once again, he is thrown back. During the battle, Moi notices deep cracks spreading across his magical fishhook. He realizes that one more powerful blow will destroy it forever, taking away his powers for good. Still, Moana refuses to abandon her mission. Watching her continue to risk everything, Moi becomes overwhelmed by fear. He says, "I can't risk my life, or my fishhook, for your people." With those words, he transforms into a hawk and flies away, leaving Moana behind. Watching Moi disappear into the sky, Moana completely loses hope. Looking at the ocean, she quietly says, "Maybe I'm not the right person for this. You should never have chosen me. Find someone else." She gently places the heart of Te Whiti back into the ocean. Moments later, a giant glowing manta ray rises from the sea. It is the spirit of Grandma Tala. Tears fill Mona's eyes as she cries, "Grandma, I can't do this anymore. I just want to go home." Tala smiles warmly and replies, "If going home is truly what you want, no one will stop you. But before you decide, listen to your heart." As soon as Moana hears those words, memories of her entire journey flash before her eyes. She remembers her fearless ancestors crossing the endless ocean. She remembers her father, her grandmother, and everyone on Motonui who believes in her. At that moment, she finally realizes who she truly is. Without hesitation, she dives into the ocean and retrieves the heart of Te Whiti. Filled with renewed courage, she sails toward Te Macron one last time. Furious, Te Macron roars with rage and unleashes a relentless barrage of fire and molten lava. But this time, Moana skillfully maneuvers her canoe, dodging every attack while drawing Te Macron away from the island. Suddenly, Te Macron lands a devastating strike. The heart flies out of Moana's hands. At the very last second, Hehe leaps forward and catches it in his beak. But Te Macron's next attack is even more powerful. It slams into Moana's canoe, flipping it completely over and throwing Moana into the raging ocean. "And I was born. My own parents threw me into the ocean." Te Macron raises her massive arm, preparing to deliver the final blow to Moana. But at the last possible moment, Moi returns. With newfound courage, he charges straight at Te Macron, striking her enormous arm and pulling her attention away from Moana. Seeing Moi come back fills Moana with hope once again. Moi begins transforming into different animals one after another, using every trick he has left to keep Te Macron distracted while Moana races toward Te Whiti. But during the fierce battle, Te Macron lands one devastating strike on Moi's magical fishhook. With a loud crack, the fishhook shatters into pieces. Meanwhile, Moana finally reaches the place where Te Whiti should be. But there's no one there. Then she notices the familiar spiral symbol on Te Macron's chest, the exact place where the heart of Te Whiti belongs. In that instant, she realizes the truth. Te Macron and Te Whiti are the same being. When Te Whiti lost her heart, she was consumed by pain, anger, and sorrow, transforming into the lava monster known as Te Macron. Just as Te Macron turns to attack Moi again, Moana steps forward and raises the heart of Te Whiti high into the air. Te Macron immediately stops and turns toward her. Moana gently speaks to the ocean. "Please, let her come to me." The ocean instantly parts into two towering walls of water, creating a clear path between them. Te Macron slowly walks toward Moana. When they finally stand face to face, Moana softly says, "I know who you are." She carefully places the heart back into Te Whiti's chest. The moment the heart is restored, Te Macron's terrifying lava form begins to disappear. The flames fade, the lava cools, flowers bloom, and the beautiful goddess Te Whiti returns once again. At that very moment, the darkness spreading across the world begins to vanish. Dead forests become green again. The ocean grows calm. Life returns to every island. The ocean safely carries Moi and Hehe back to shore. Filled with regret, Moi sincerely apologizes to Te Whiti for stealing her heart. Te Whiti forgives him and uses her magic to create a brand new enchanted fishhook, stronger than the one he lost. Overjoyed, Moi proudly holds up his new fishhook. As they prepare to leave, Moana smiles and says, "You should visit Motonui someday." She gives Moi a warm hug before sailing home. When Moana finally returns to Motonui, her parents, the entire village, and her loyal pig Pua rush to welcome her home. Moana happily picks Pua up in her arms as everyone celebrates her safe return. Sometime later, Moana officially becomes the new chief of Motonui. But instead of placing a stone on the sacred mountain like every chief before her, she places a seashell, a symbol of new beginnings and a future filled with exploration. In the final scene, Moana leads her people back onto the open ocean, reviving the ancient voyaging traditions of their ancestors. High above them, Moi soars across the sky in the form of a hawk, smiling proudly as he watches over his friends. And with that, this incredible adventure comes to an unforgettable end. If you enjoyed this movie explanation, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for more amazing movie recaps. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.